seen this painting before, but you haven't seen me work on it. And I've had it on the wall because I just made a frame for it, I finished a frame I started a long time ago. And so, but I've been looking at it on the wall, and I want to make some changes because even though I don't have the sketch, it's too mundane for me. Yeah, it could be real close to what the original was. This is somewhere, I think in Utah or Colorado, on a trip from LA to Colorado and back, but I think we went through Utah too, Vermilion Canyon or something. I've got images, photographs that I've printed of areas in here, but it's not the scene. But the orange, that orangey ground and the hills are pretty much what is in here, but I don't have the actual photograph. So here's another shot of that area and some of the light colors that go through here. I think I'm thinking of putting that through here too. More shadows. The shadows are pretty even all along. And if you're wondering, well, if that's what the original scene looked like, why don't you paint it like that? And the answer to that question is, I don't really want to copy reality or copy what's out there in nature. That's one of the things I really don't enjoy. And so I'm going to make my own reality, and by including things that I want to include, and by changing things that I see to make it into a better painting. Yeah, what else am I going to do? Oh, yeah, the sky's okay. Yeah, the other thing is that the shadows are coming from here. There are no shadows here. I am going to punch up this orangey soil as I showed you on the photographs from that area. And I need to find out if that was the Vermilion Hills, but who knows. But I'm going to make shadows here because I wanted this darker, but I'm going to make it darker yet, leave the highlights in this area and make more contrast in the hills. That's the plan. And let's see what happens. Some people mix their paint, they pre-mix their paint. They'll have a whole bunch of pre-mixed things that are ready to go. No, I kind of do it one at a time, but it's a method that a bunch of people use. Let's see, where am I going to do what? I think I did this recently. As I was making the frame, I didn't show you that, but I made this lighter than the rest, and I like it, and so I'm going to end up doing more of that. I'm also going to include larger areas of shadows that are in this area. Shadows that are, to me, as I'm seeing them now, are too much the same. And I'm looking again at those photos that I showed you. But the foreground colors are pretty much how they were. There's some grays in the grasses, but this is, it's very representational of what it actually looked like. All right, I'm going to make, again, I'm just going to have to create it. And I'm going to use this area. To me, there's not much going on in this area, so I'm going to make this area an area that ends up being, has a total shadow from this hill right here, casting on it, like so. Oh, it certainly changes the dimension of the painting. I'm going to do that one more time. I'm going to do it down here. Yeah. Again, if you're wondering, don't I want to follow what's in front of me when I'm doing the sketch, and I can't find that either. But to me, this changes everything, and it makes it more interesting. And I'm going to go one more time. Oh, I think I'm going to do it over here and leave this area for some of the other changes that I'm thinking of making. So here, this area here. Okay, all right. And, yeah. I'm also making the shadow blues punchier. Are they in reality about this punchy? No, not really. But I think it goes well with the colors that I've got in the painting, including the sky. Yeah, I'm going to make this darker. Plus, I said I was going to make the oranges darker to pick up these oranges in here. And as you can tell, I've done that before. I skip around. I go from one area to another, and that's fine. You know, this blue here. Yeah. As we get further this way, there would be more shadows here. The angle is greater. So, if I did nothing else, I like it better already. So that's the reason I hang it on the wall, and that's the reason I come back to it and end up making changes that end up making the painting better in my eyes. Somebody else would have might have liked it just fine the way it was, but it wasn't the way I wanted it, and so therefore I need to change it. Okay, I said I was going to make this punchier here, so I need more orange. Yeah, punchier. Got some of that blue still in there. I like that though. I like the size of it. Yeah, that's more orange. And I said I was going to go darker over here. Yeah. Alright, so I'm going to take that same red that I had, mix it with the orange and this cad red, and I'm going to make it darker, just about like so. Thinking, and you know, when I'm doing this, it's only a thought. The thought is, you might like it better that way. It may become a better painting, and that's why I decided to do that. Yeah, I'm going to put more red back into it, because the color is getting kind of just there. Here. Okay. This hill continues a little higher, casting this shadow. It's not very high, otherwise this would all be in shadow. And I think to separate these two, you've heard me talk about that in the past too, that I like separation between the various masses, and not that each one has to kind of stand out by itself, but I do like the idea of masses that separate. Okay. Just punch that up just a hair. More. I'm going to put, since the shadows are so heavy here, I'm going to end up putting them down here too. Kind of a blue and an alizarin crimson or something like that, to get kind of a purpley blue. Let's see. It's so dark enough. In this shadow area, I've got a rock here that's not working either. There's a rock right here, just as a highlight, something to get my eye, or the viewer's eye, into the painting. make that lighter too to kind of, what paint did I use? No. No. Yeah. Yes, and if I didn't say it, I thought I had. I'm going to punch this up back here too. Yeah. Here. Of course, these various shapes here are going to end up creasing a little bit more shadow as well. All right. Now, yeah, I'm just looking at this and saying, well, is this working for me? I think it is, but I won't know for a little while. And I like the things that I've done because it makes it more interesting. It makes it more interesting. No, I don't like what I'm doing here. All right. Okay. Now I'm going to go back over this. I'll probably end up adding some of this yellow orangey stuff in here to break up that mass, that shape. The reason for the darker value here, and maybe it's too dark, is because the hills are higher here, and so the shadows are going to be darker and more pronounced. Here it's a small hill. There's still light coming onto these various shrubs that are here. All right. Yeah, I said I was going to do that lighter highlights in the center. It's actually just shrubs and grass and rocks and what have you. We did stop here and walked around. It was fascinating. And here, add some more yellow. There. Yep, lost a brush here. There. There. Here. Maybe more yellowy to indicate that these plants are back here too. Okay. Yeah. Now I guess I feel like going into this area. No, this area isn't done. It isn't. I want to punch that up some more too. Here. Some highlights are catching this orangey stuff. Yeah. Oh, I tell you, I can't wait to get in here. I started that here a couple of days ago. Some of the colors that I mixed up. See it? Yeah, it just makes this So different. And I'm wondering how the frame is going to work with it now that I'm making all these changes. But I sealed it. I showed that to you. And once it's sealed, I can go back in and change the patina on the frame. When I stop talking like that, it's because I'm thinking. And then when I'm thinking, things don't seem to work really well down below. Now, I'm going to make there's going to be some things that stop here. Feels like so. Yeah, it's a little on the dark side. Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. Yeah. Well. All right. See, again, this is not total, it's more of a lavender here, with the shadows and the different colors, it really does end up looking like a different painting. And hopefully I'll be done after this and move on to something else. I don't really want to keep working on things for years, but that's how it seems to go. Anyway, so, all right. I'm going to now, I'm still not done with the color, but I like this. It's more of a lavender, it's more of an orange. Anyway, what I'm going to do is put those bands of different rock formations that you find so often in those strata all over the Southwest, but especially in Utah and Colorado. So I'm mixing up something which I am hoping is about right, but I'll have to put it on there and decide, yeah, this works or it doesn't. And it doesn't end up having to go everywhere, but again, it breaks things down. It breaks things up. It makes the masses more interesting. Yeah, and it doesn't have to go all the way, but it certainly helps break down the mass. And when I keep talking about a mass, this is a mass. This is a mass. This is a mass. This mass is broken up into various other small masses of individual objects. Yeah. So. Yeah, that's a nice highlight on there. Yeah, I'm quiet because I'm thinking, where should I be putting those various blotches of color? Yeah, I said earlier that I'm going to take some of these shrubs, which are probably going to be tumbleweed somewhere after they dry up and then are tossed across the road when you're driving along. So let's see. Yeah, let's see, what else? These masses, these highlights that I've got in there are a little something to draw your eye into it. I can make them lighter, the light coming from here, I can make them a little lighter and add a little shadow, a drop shadow area here. Here. Yeah. It just breaks up again this mass right here with something that and again, you know, some of the people that are painting plein air paint a lot more realistically. I mean, things have to be, the rocks have to look like a piece of granite or a piece of sandstone. For me, it's more, there's more interest in me in designing things that end up looking like hills or clouds or rocks, and they don't look as real as some people like to make them. And that's just how I paint. It's more impressionistic. It's not realism. And of course, some people really go crazy and they end up wanting to make it photographic realism, where things look like it's a photograph. The skill it takes to do that must be fantastic, but it's just something that I'm not really interested in. And to me, it doesn't, to me, it's not something that I feel this is what I want to do. Anyway, take some of these highlights that I've got here and pop them into areas, the darker areas, to kind of light them up a little bit. Okay. Now, I mean, I think it's a different painting, I really do, compared to what it was. And I can go back and even put some more shadows in and some branches that are coming up, but I don't think all that's really that, in my way of thinking, it's not that important. It really isn't. It is much more the impressionistic, the impression of what I get looking out over this area. That's what I saw when we drove by here and we all got out of the car and looked and said, yeah, this is really fascinating. I mean, we all did. And that's one of the reasons I decided to paint it, because it's so interesting. Yeah. Yeah. There are gray patches too of plants that had succumbed because of lack of water. I certainly could use some of that. It's kind of they're kind of a blue-gray. There, kind of like that. And you know, that's one of the reasons. It's always, I kind of like that. I kind of feel good about that stroke. I feel like that really makes sense. And then I look at it later and I keep wondering, geez, how did I reach that conclusion? But that's how it works. Eventually I get done. Eventually I'm done. I keep wondering. Of course I keep wondering. I'm always wondering. What else does this need? I said I was going to have some of the drop shadows that are here, 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 there. So, okay, I'm gonna take another break and look at what I've done and look at. I like this. I mean, I like that. I think, yeah, I certainly like the shadows that I've made. Maybe before I go, just add kind of on the dark side, which is okay. That's because it's that gray. Here, and the yellow. Yeah. I do like the darkening back over here, less light. So, okay. Would I go to the reddish instead of the bluish here? No, that's okay. Okay. Alright, like I said, I think I should take another break and just kind of look at this instead of just continuously putting on paint. But let me think about what I'm going to do. See, I just did something I was going to undo. Yeah, I think I'll stop here for a minute. I had a few things that I'm going to do. All of my brush strokes back here in the horizontal, and to put these shrubs and bushes in, I'm going to make some vertical strokes to kind of imply that they're growing up and they're not just, they're closer to us. Back here, they're so far away we can't tell that they're vertical. I'm going to go back in here and put some nice, make it a stop. Light's coming from here. There's a crease right here in the earth, a kind of a berm, and it's light on this side, the dark, and then the light on the other side. So let me, I'm going to go take my, so, here. That smudge is just large boulders, something that's catching the light. Here. Oh, right here. Too orange. Too orange. So here. Yeah, well, that certainly grabs your eyes. Hopefully, they'll let go so that the viewer ends up getting a chance to go somewhere else. Here. Okay, the vertical strokes on the vegetation in the background. White here. Where else do I need it? Here. Where else do I need it? Not where do I find it in the photograph or in my sketch? Where do I need it? Yeah. Yeah. Let's go larger. They're all pretty small right here. So make one of them a little larger, a little darker, a little lighter. And a little orangey. I'll make the next one a little lighter. All right. I think so. I've been looking at this here too, which is a cloud, and who knows when I change that. I think when I was ready to put it into the frame, I looked at it and said, no, I gotta change something here. Now, grab a bunch of this, decide that I'm gonna end up having areas. This is darker, this lighter. So I'm going to go back in, now that I've got a shadow area in that cloud. I'm going to go back in, mix up a little something that's cloud-like, not white, but cloud-like. Yeah, it's pretty light. Orange in it. Let's see. Well, like I said, I don't really mind. Did I just hit the camera? Yes, I did, and I've got paint all over it. All right. Here. Some of that. I do like the blue-gray shadows I've got in here. Okay. Little highlight back here. Yeah. Well, it's not white, even though it looks white, it's not. It's got a lot of yellow and orange in it. And let me bring the shadow areas up here, there. All right, let me put this back in the frame. And once it's back in the frame, oh no, I'm done. Like you've already heard me say, I never seem to be done. But let me go, do I need to make these punchier? Once I see it in the frame, and then I'll also know whether the frame is going to have to get some work from me to make it fit the painting better. But it's basically the same painting. I think I've punched up the oranges back here. I've made some of the vegetation go back. I've lightened this just a bit. I don't think it needs any more. And I think I may, let me put it in the frame, and then I'll know what else does it need. So that's what I'm going to do. Now this is the desert painting. You saw me doing some patina on the frame, but I hadn't worked on the painting for a long time, and so I took it back out to the studio and worked on the painting, making the shadows more interesting, breaking up the foreground, making it darker on the right hand side. I think it's a better painting because of it, and now it's going to be on the wall for a little while, and I'll be looking at it every day to see if I'm going to leave it like this or make some more changes.